Next, I want to introduce you Dr. Gary George. He's a retired colonel of the United States Air Force. He's chairman of the Miami Valley Hospital Medical Imaging Department. He's president of the Southwest Ohio Guild of Catholic Medical Association. And what he won't tell you is that he does volunteer service for Elizabeth's New Life Center, a pregnancy center, and he reads all of our ultrasounds. What a blessing that is. He helps us to verify the ultrasounds that are done where we're helping women choose life. And so Dr. George is going to focus on the constitution of medical issues raised by the Healthcare Amendment, or the Health Amendment.
Well, welcome, and thank you for coming out to defend religious freedom. I need to do a sound check. Can you hear me, Mr. Obama? Mr. Obama, we demand our God-given right to practice our religion as our faith mandates, not as the government mandates. Mr. Obama, we demand that you respect the religious liberty that is our heritage. Freedom of religion is not something that is doled out by any president. Freedom of religion is not something that is doled out by Kathleen Sebelius or any other bureaucrat from HHS. Freedom of religion is our God-given natural right. It underpinned the founding of our great nation. It was guaranteed and protected by our founding fathers. On this date, 223 years ago, James Madison introduced the Bill of Rights to the first Congress of the United States. The very first and most fundamental right was and is the freedom of religion. Freedom of religion is the right upon which all other rights depend, and that is why it is under attack today. On January 20th, 2012, the Obama administration unilaterally decreed that a bunch of federal bureaucrats would guide the church and determine what was or wasn't worthy of belief and practice. Never before in American history has the federal government tried to coerce religious institutions into committing acts that these institutions teach are immoral. I don't know about you, but I didn't spend 24 years in the Air Force to watch this administration pull the plug on our fundamental religious liberties. You know, this is not some accidental violation of our religious freedom. This administration has made a series of very deliberate steps to degrade our religious liberty. There have been multiple assaults on individual healthcare providers' rights and conscience. Pharmacists, doctors, and nurses have had to resort to the courts to protect their conscience. There have been assaults on military chaplains trying to limit and dictate how they practice their faith. Recently, the Obama administration attempted to dictate who the Evangelical Lutheran Church could hire and fire as a minister. In a ringing rebuke of the Obama administration's cramped view of the church's, all 9 justices of the Supreme Court, including the 2 Obama appointees, rejected its arguments as extreme, remarkable, and untenable. These are their quotes: extreme, remarkable, and untenable. You see a pronged attack on religious freedom. Of course, these folks want to pretend that this is about women's rights, about access to sterilization, about abortifacients and birth control. This is not about birth control. This is about a government that is out of control. So I ask, is America's faith community going to rise up and say enough? If the president wants to drive religion out of the public square, then his administration will have to trample on thousands of priests, pastors, and rabbis first. They understand, as we do, that this war has implications, not just for religious liberty, but for every liberty. Back in late 2008, the president assured Christian leaders that the conscience clause would not be disturbed. 2 years ago, the president argued that Obamacare would take care of the poor, and again reassured church leaders that conscience would not be violated in hopes of garnering their support. This year, we have seen a total reversal and full-scale violation of those promises by the HHS Mandate. This administration has offered a smoke and mirrors set of narrow exemptions and an accommodation to the mandate. And what is the olive branch that HHS is tendering? They will allow us 1 extra year to buckle under and renounce our religious beliefs. HHS is essentially saying, we respect your religious views so much that we'll give you 1 extra year to abandon them. Guess what, Mr. Obama? Religious principles have no expiration date. According to the Beckett Fund for Religious Liberty, not even the ministry of Jesus Christ would qualify under these exemptions. A Christian soup kitchen is not exempt if it feeds non-Christians. Fellow citizens and patriots, we are summoned today to assume our place in history alongside our founding fathers to safeguard religious freedom. We are blessed to be called to defend the principles that previous generations have died for. This critical moment in history is a responsibility that we have been given. There are no excuses for sitting back and being silent. We may have been apathetic and lukewarm. We may have been unmotivated and distracted in the past. We may have too much work. We may have too many soccer games to get the kids to. We may have too little time. Guess what, though? The folks stomping on our religious freedom are making time to mandate, coerce, and intimidate us into violating our consciousness and debasing our religious beliefs. The folks stomping on our religious freedom have taken a page out of the playbooks of the past in the attempt to crush the voice of Christians. In the early 20th century, one of the first orders of business for Lenin and Stalin was to subvert the religious authority of the church. They decimated a once vibrant church in Russia and its people. Today in China, Christians are forced to worship in secret, and their leaders are imprisoned and tortured. Are we going to stand by and watch this happen in the United States of America? No. I say no. We will not allow that to happen in our great nation. We will not allow a tyrannical government to force us to violate our conscience while undermining the foundations of our great nation. We must refuse to be coerced, intimidated, bullied, pressured, arm twisted, or otherwise forced to abandon our religious heritage for modern despots. In the chess match that the Obama administration is playing, I'm sure that they feel like they have us in check. However, we know that most assuredly they do not have us in checkmate. We know that our King, Jesus Christ, will never be defeated. We know that our Queen, the Blessed Mother Mary, is in heaven interceding for us. And we know that our bishops and the knights of Christianity have risen up against the bureaucratic pawns of oppression and government control. Our demands are really quite simple. We must be allowed to continue to take care of the hungry, the sick, and the most vulnerable in society in accordance with our faith and religious beliefs. That is what we as Christians have always done. This is why we demand that the conscience clause must be protected. Thank you.